Hello, welcome back to Kill the Computer. This is a little bit of a special episode. It's a little onion themed. It's an onion themed episode. Of course, Caleb, we always have you here. How you doing, Caleb?
Doing well.
And we have Ben Collins. How are you doing, Ben?
I'm good. I mean, the world is a complete dog shit nightmare that we should not participate in anymore. General strike now, etc. But other than that, I'm good. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah. That is just sort of like the theme of the world right now, isn't it? It's just like there's no escaping this constant barrage. It's one of those things where like the first Trump term, I was like, okay, like we experienced Trump already. How bad can it be? It's like, oh, it could get really bad, significantly so, which is it's a little astonishing.
Yeah, it's harrowing. I hope y'all are hanging in there because it's been brutal. It's been really rough.
It's been a little brutal. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even like the most. I'm saying like I sleep next to a person who's purple on the left side of her body this week because of the administration, right? So there's just like
I saw that.
and I'm just purple in the brain. So
Yeah.
that's the only bruised part of my body at present, and I hope it remains that way.
Yeah, watching Kat like get literally picked up and thrown to the ground in a way that could have like broken a bone. It looked like the way she landed was just brutal. Like it was an astonishing video. Like I know she's thankfully doing okay, but like wild to just witness that on display.
Yeah, it's gross, and it also happened like it hit a part of her body that you can't photograph and then put on the internet. So letting you guys know that. But like it is a. It's brutal. And also, so I was talking to a guy yesterday, I was trying to explain it to him, and he was like, that's crazy. It's crazy. Like, but so like, who do you call? Who are they responsible? And I was like, that's the point. That's what she's protesting. Is that she's protesting the fact that if someone throws her on the ground and grabs her tits and shit, that, you don't even know who they are. It's just, we still don't know who it is. We'll probably never know who it is. And that person is being lauded by the president's people. Mm-hmm. And he ostensibly reports to the president, but really doesn't report to anybody because he's a lawless maniac. And it's possible he doesn't even work for anybody because none of them are identification and they're all fatigues. Anyways, that's just one problem. Myriad problems that my life is now under this very oppressive fascist regime. It just sucks. Just one of those things.
Yeah, I mean, I feel very weird. I've mentioned on the podcast before, the last time we had you on, I didn't work for The Onion, but now right. I also work for The Onion. I don't always talk about that on this show. So it's we're kind of, I guess we're not breaking the scoop. Go read the Wired piece. We'll link it in the show notes for this episode. You'll probably listen to this like the day of or like a little bit after this piece comes out. But Ben, we brought you on to talk about basically just how the media has been under fire, of course, largely like under Trump's term this time. But do you want to like explain, give some context of what, like, why, like what we're talking about with like The Onion and like what happened recently?
Yeah, sure. I'll give you a good breakdown. So I would say about 7 weeks ago now, I think we all decided at The Onion that we need to do something pretty substantive about Jeffrey Epstein. Like he is a mythical creature now who he seems to be like this omnipotent pedophile. Like he has this he really is this all-knowing, all-seeing ghost that haunts all of America.
I mean, he's going to be history's most well-known pedophile. Like he just is. Yeah, of
course. And also he was best friends with the current president of the United States. So like, I feel like everybody at The Onion was like, we gotta do something big on this. What do we do? And they had toyed around with the idea of doing something with video, which we do really well. When The Onion does video, we kind of like really go for it. ONN is really good. The Onion News Network. We did this thing 15 years ago called Sex House, which if you've not watched it, you've got to go watch it. It's one of my favorite pieces of media anywhere, but definitely on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they haven't really had the budget to do something at that like scope and scale in 15 years. So I was like, what if we just went for it? What if we gave you budget to go and make whatever you want on Jeffrey Epstein? And they're like, all right. So then there was a meeting, and I heard the best part about working at The Onion, if you work in my role, or June is like this too. June is allowed in these meetings, but it like sits outside of them. is you just hear like uproarious laughter that goes on for 5 minutes every once in a while.
Yeah.
And that's what happened during that meeting. And then afterwards, I remember our executive editor, Jordan, came out and he sent me a text and he said, "We've got the title. It's Jeffrey Epstein, Bad Pedophile," which is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
So good. So
the
good.
Wired lady actually asked me, she was like, "Is that a play on the Roxane Gay book, Bad Feminist?" And I was like, "What?" I don't know what to. No, it's just a funny sentence. It's just like this. So from there, I don't think I've ever seen anything have momentum from there at the Onion since I've been here. It's been almost 2 years. Like they wrote this script in like a few days. It really went ham. And there was on the whiteboard, I remember walking by it several times. June, I don't know if you saw it, but at the end, it was chapter 10, and chapter 10 says, he went to heaven, frowny face. That's not even a spoiler for the ending, by the way. It's not even close.
Yeah.
So like that is like one of 5 million jokes. Like this documentary has the pacing of and like jokes per second ratio of like peak 30 Rock or Airplane or something. It's only 22 minutes in a theater, regardless. And the reason I say in a theater is because we had brought this to a major movie distributor to be in theaters nationwide. And they were like, "Yeah, absolutely, let's fucking go." And they were great partners for a while. And we were going to air this along with Sex House, first theatrical release of Sex House, in whatever the highest resolution we have of that. It's probably like 720p, but whatever. Throughout the country, at a national distribution deal. And then Charlie Kirk got shot. And then a couple hours later, we had heard this thing you were about to put out on October 2nd is no longer happening. And, I had told our staff this was happening. We had started prepping all the stuff to like get everything up there. And it's brutal. So I called and asked why it was, and they were explicit as to why it was. Like, apparently, like they had previously had a PR firm and all this stuff. And the PR firm, first of all, apparently just like refused to watch the movie. And
what we sent them? They
just emailed back over and over again. They're like, "Is Trump in it?" And they were like, and the people who worked there were like, "Yeah, Trump's in it, but like, it's complicated. He's not Donald Trump. Like I'm not going to ruin the movie for you, but it's really not Donald Trump. That is Donald Trump in this thing. This is just absurdist art. This is what this is. It has no relation to reality." And then they responded, "Yeah, but is Donald Trump in it?" So they just kept going through that circle. And then, so it was...
I really wouldn't watch a 22-minute documentary with what they bill. Come on.
I don't know, man.
And especially like a comedy. It's not like they're like going to learn something from this. They might like chuckle, like they might laugh. It's not like that. This is not like a political shattering like documentary. This is also, like it's a comedy.
Put it on 2x speed and wait for your oven to preheat or something. Just like, come on. Yeah. Regardless, that's the bar now. And look, and what I want to say is, by the way, this is not a Jimmy Kimmel situation. It's not at that level. This is not the guy getting fired from MSNBC or all the people who got fired from like Best Buy for writing that, quoting Charlie Kirk verbatim. It's not one of those situations. It's nowhere near that. Like we are able to, as a company, put it all together, and the people, the rank and file people at that movie place really, really helped us because they realized also that it was bullshit and it should not be happening. But I will say this is also how things get killed on a creative level during times like this. I've lived through an NBC. I've had I've had little teeny things cut, and I know this like the slow 1 million paper cuts thing that happens here. And this is just one of the paper cuts. And I do think it's illustrative of what's going on. So we were able to find a bunch of independent theaters all throughout the country. We're going to be resilient. We're going to get through this thing. We're going to make sure as many people see it as possible. It's in right now, I think we have 6 cities. And what we're going to do also is if you have an independent theater that you run or anything like that, email us, and we will just give you the thing to screen on October 2nd. On October 2nd, it's going to be in a bunch of theaters that we are now paying for. So please subscribe to the fucking Onion, by the way, because this has become a very funny money losing venture for all of us. It's worth it. But we're going to pick ourselves back up and brush ourselves off. But it really it's proof that, like, look, we're kind of all in it together from an independent media standpoint at this point. And we can't rely on places that have any business in front of the government, or just generally afraid of pissing off Donald Trump. Even the fictional version of him that was in the Eastern Conference Finals.
That's what's become like the most, I mean, it's been this way for a minute. He's always like criticized different people in the media. He's always wanted to go after people this way. And if I remember correctly, this was doing what they did to like Jimmy Kimmel, for example, specifically, was something they want to that they like lined out within Project 2025. This is specifically a part of their project to like tackle and take on media that does like wrong think, essentially, that criticizes the party, criticizes Donald Trump. And it's just crazy that like we like no one that worked at Best Buy, no one at the Onion like shot Charlie Kirk, but we're like we can't even, like, you can't screen something like Jimmy Kimmel can't go on here? What's
is Charlie Kirk mentioned in this documentary?
Not once, not even close.
And they haven't seen it. It's just because Trump is vaguely in it.
Yeah.
So I was going to do like the kind of credulous dumb guy thing and ask you, Ben, like, is there any situation in which like they could be right to say, hey, maybe this isn't the right moment to do this, but they haven't even fucking watched it.
Yeah, that's correct. They haven't fucking watched it. Also, I do think that the most absurd part about this whole thing is that they are taking the logical jump of Charlie Kirk got shot. Charlie Kirk is friends with the president. Jeffrey Epstein's friends with the president. Therefore, it's just like, you're not allowed to make fun of Jeffrey Epstein anymore.
That's a
like,
step too far.
That's the like, who's left to make fun of? We're gonna make fun of, like, I think like state-sanctioned people you can make fun of is like Kathy Griffin, Rosie O'Donnell, like women that were loud and famous in 1996 are the people that
people with whom Donald Trump has had WWE beefs. Like, that's who we're allowed to criticize.
Yeah, exactly.
And like the fact that it's clearly coming from the top, from Donald Trump himself, he'll like make posts on Truth Social. The fact that it's like in situations where there's no pressure, where these big companies, these different like what was it, the MSNBC, they fired a guy too. Washington Post let go, I believe, I forget her last name, but her Karen. Yeah, like people, like these companies are letting people go left and right because they're just even scared of dabbling in like directly opposing Donald Trump and like sticking up for things that are actually happening. It's kind of a terrifying place to be in, and that's all of this, like the last 2 weeks, has really cemented in my mind that like independent media is like literally the way, like the only way to go right now to sort of counterbalance what's happening. You quite literally have to support some of this stuff, otherwise, like, what, we're gonna rely on like fucking Politico? Like, no.
Right. I also, it is going to be a shift, because like when I was growing up, the people who were obsessed with independent media were like people who had got kicked out of flea markets for being too smelly, like, those people.
Yeah, people who handed out zines at punk shows and
like, and I got it, and
I love those people.
I knew it was cool, but I also knew that like I can't hang at that level. It's not gonna happen for me. And now, like, the issue is like we're gonna have to get all like the normie wine moms onto this boat, like, because otherwise they're just gonna be misinformed or stuck to this a bunch of dying ships here. And I think it's possible. It's like a real opportunity. It just feels like a real shift. And I only because I used to cover this stuff. Steve Bannon, 10 years ago, 13 years ago or so now, was very much into building what he called like a parallel media ecosystem or parallel economy. And what it wound up doing is building enough power and money that they just eventually took over the entire pipeline of everything. Like that's really what happened. The only way to build real power now is to own your own stuff and, have a direct facing relationship with the people who subscribe to your thing. I'm not like, I think when I went on your show last year, when we took over the Onion, like I brought up Dropout a lot, and they've grown substantially, but that's the same deal. Like they just have like a one-to-one relationship with They're people, and they have huge scale now. They're gigantic, and they have power from it. We're going to have to do it ourselves, because otherwise we're going to be fucked.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I think the greatest example of like the right really building out that ecosystem on their side is like Libs of TikTok is like the premier example. People like her, not even just her, but the people like her that aren't even like in media jobs, but they essentially function as like funnels to people directly above them. They're the social media that find the thing that will enrage people, and then the people that have the microphones will talk about the thing that enrages them from the source of Libs of TikTok, and it just continues to go from there. And they've really mastered it. It took me like really until this year to really internalize just really how well oiled that machine is. It's astonishing just how good they are at it, and how bad the like, you know, broadly the left, but of course the Democratic Party is fucking horrible at doing that.
Yeah, it's a reinforcement mechanism too, right? Like, she's given I was gonna say she found a video, but she's usually like given a video from like a racist forum, and then like, and then she gets it out there, it goes crazy, and then the forum amplifies her own thing, gives them credibility. Then that winds up getting on Fox News, and then she tweets the clip from Fox News citing her own thing. It's a human centipede thing, but it works constantly to eat itself. And what it does is it allows you to, when it's a zero-sum game in terms of attention right now, it allows them to win so easily. Mm-hmm. I will say, like, there's a downside and an upside to that. The downside is they're incredibly well funded, and they don't give a shit where the money's coming from. Like you saw with Tenet. Like, they were literally paid by the Russian government, and they don't fucking care. Like, it didn't matter at all. Like, they just don't give a shit at all.
That's just the price of business, baby.
Yeah, and they're also funded by, you know, oligarchs and you know, tech barons and just other rich weirdos who want to establish like a white ethno state. Just the truth. And then what that does is it makes it so they think that they're omnipotent, and right now they kind of are. But I also see that they're getting tiresome, I think, to most people, and they're getting cocky. And no one wants to be on the side of people who think they've, you know, think they've won like the Fourth Reich and they've just figured it out and they're all set and they're all stomping down the street. If there's one thing Americans don't like, is they just don't like being preached to like that. And that's how they got to power to begin with. So there's a wide open lane. I just like, you know, I'm not saying, really quickly, I don't think like the Democratic Party should have anything to do with any of this. Terrible idea. And the Republican Party has a lot to do with their ecosystem.
Yeah.
But
that's like that is the thing, though, is like, because the Republican Party and all of these different groups like Turning Point USA, all of these groups are connected to the Republican Party. They are all funded by the Republican Party. They have some sort of connection to a politician. Like, I was just doing research for my other show, Ill Conceived, about Moms for Liberty, that parents' rights group started by the wife of a Florida politician. It's like these are all connected. The way that all of these different groups and like, oh wow, independent like movements, they all stem from the top of the party itself, and the Democratic Party just like doesn't have that same ecosystem, which is why it's just not going to happen in the same way.
In our upcoming episode, not to spoil anything yet, but the one we're doing on kind of all the right-wing Twitter clones before Elon just made it acceptable to be doing that, something that you'll see is like, I mean, Steve Bannon, one of his buddies, is like, they fund Parler, Getter, the Mercer family. They're all behind the Republican mega donors are behind basically every one of these things.
Yeah, and I think it's important to stress how much they fail. Like, they have these places like Andreessen Horowitz, which is about to take over TikTok, or 20% of TikTok or something. They've come up with a zillion apps that didn't work. Like, they thought they had won the game with Clubhouse. Do you guys remember Clubhouse?
Wait, what the fuck is Clubhouse? I've never heard of this.
It was Twitter Spaces,
like, but they were like, it's the audio only Twitter, and it was it was just like, it was a bunch of people talking over each other on an app that kind of vaguely looked like, it was really rough. And it had a moment for like 3 months. Caleb, do you remember this at all?
Oh yeah, I was way into that because it was this like peak NFT craze. So it was all guys with like the Bored Ape avatars just talking about how like they could put real estate on the blockchain or what, just making up shit, and then they'd have like make their own influencers. It was all just like a fake universe of fake ideas.
God, that sounds like fucking horseshit. Just going on a website where it's just like only like uncles who have like nothing else better to do than look at apes all day. Every once in a while. Go on, sorry.
This wasn't even that long ago. I don't know, Caleb, maybe one of us can look this up, but I don't really feel like doing it. I'm going to guess it was 7 years ago. Kind of feels like it. But like...
that sounds about right. We'll say 7.
So like one of like the Joker moments for Mark Andreessen, who is now like one of the purveyors of both the surveillance and like the security state and like drone warfare and stuff like that. He's the Andreessen and Andreessen Horowitz, which is one of the biggest VC firms in the world. The reason he hates Taylor Lorenz so much is because she was on his Clubhouse page thing.
What? And
he was talking about something and someone said the R word on it. And I think she misattributed it to him or something. But she just tweeted that he did it. And he lost his fucking mind. Like, he went bananas. And then he was like, we got to make an example out of one of them. And then we'll go after all of them. And I was like, all right. And then they did. Like, they put the laser sights on Taylor. But like, it was very strange. But like, all of these things, that's the larger point of this thing. Sorry, now that I've driven you into Clubhouse lore, is that they fail all the time because like their actual first ideas are not great. But the thing that they're best at is like annexation. Mm-hmm. And almost all of this failed until they bought Twitter. Until they really...
They're so lucky that Elon Musk destroyed his brain by tweeting 24 hours a day, like 1,000 times, and decided he had to buy it. They're so lucky.
And paid the GDP of like half of the EU to
No, I feel like in the last couple of years, like, you know, it has always felt like these rich people like Andreessen Horowitz, all these people, Elon Musk, had a lot of money. But it really feels like since 2022, since COVID recovery, it feels like all of these people just found out a way to do an infinite money glitch. Like they entered the correct code on the controller and they just have like as much money as they could ever need to do anything possible. I doesn't feel like there's nothing they can't do.
How many times has Mark Zuckerberg failed embarrassingly and he still is just that guy?
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, think of all the products they've come out with. Now we're on glasses. Like, well,
this is the second time they've tried glasses too.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, is this a joke? I was like, is this a fucking like a meme? Are they making fun?
This time, man.
Right. That's the thing to remember is like they just fail constantly. Like they just and the more fascist they get, the more obviously they fail, right?
Yeah.
Unless they're taking someone else's
slop,
thing.
piggies. Fuck you. We don't care anymore.
Yeah, exactly. They just like can't create. Like, or culturally, they can't create. They can create like they create a bunch of companies that, you know, kill dogs with drones easily. They do it all the time. But they like in terms of like accept I guess I don't know, changing the culture to be more like them. They really do just have to like buy out somebody else's thing that was otherwise kind of pure and ruin it.
It's the ultimate manifestation of their entire politics is just wanting everyone to laugh at their jokes and memes. I mean, that's been the whole project post like Elon Musk Twitter. That's what it feels like being under Donald Trump right now is like, okay, we can't laugh at this stuff over here. We can only laugh at the Pokemon theme song over a bunch of immigrant raids on the White House account. That's what we can laugh at, but we can't laugh at Donald Trump.
It's just all theft when it comes down. Like, of course they did AI. It's just like it's a composite of all the theft they've done. You know. Yeah. Like it makes so much sense when you
took the sum of all human knowledge and made it worse and charged money for it.
That's what they want, though. That's what they want.
Is that they took the sum of all human knowledge and then they made a benign thing that gave like usually wrong but kind of like polite answers. Mm-hmm. And Elon Musk was like, no, Be a piece of
Make
shit.
it racist. Make it say the R word.
Yells at the robot all day, being like, "Be wronger and be more racist."
Yeah, whenever he sees like a woke grok response, he always, without fail, goes, "We have to fix this.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'm going to bring this to the team. We're going to
So
fix
good.
this." It's like,
Don't worry, I'm gonna go yell at the encyclopedia.
He has like a landline phone by his bed, and it rings whenever Grok gives a woke response. Like, sir, it happened again. 3 a.m.
Can I just tell you something? Like because between what I'm doing with the Onion and Cat, like there's just a lot of like eyes on what I do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
And at no point was during this process have I ever been like, oh boy, I want more of that. Like, they seem to have this like masochistic like desire to be public fuck ups, and I just don't understand it. It's weird.
They want to brute force their way into, just like, look at the way JD Vance posts all the time. He's such like a whiny little, like annoying little freak. The way where he was going, I think he was arguing with Jon Favreau from Pod Save America. I think that's what he's. Is that where he's from? Is that what he does? I don't actually know him very well. I don't listen to that show. But he was arguing with him about the bullets, that bullet that just said anti-ice on it. And JD Vance was like, he was like doing the holier than thou, like, oh yeah, you're such a dipshit. And it's like, come on, like, I'm just like, this is like boring. I'm so bored of you acting tough. I'm so bored.
JD Vance is like when you were a kid and your fucking little brother or the annoying wiener kid down the street would demand to play and your mom would make you give him the controller. That is like if we made that kid the fucking vice president, man. I'm so tired of it.
It's horrible rep for millennials, honestly. Horrible rep for millennials.
We're not off to a good start.
All of this shit is so exhausting to me to like have to like wake up and know what the cycle is going to be every single day. Of just like, we're mad at the Panera Bread for not lowering the flag. And I know that it's just going to be that every day for 3.5 more years. Like, it's just, can you imagine what we're going to be like in 3.5 more years?
They have to get tired of it, right? Because like it used to be like once every 6 months, Tucker Carlson would get mad that the green M&M was no longer sexy or whatever. Now it's every day. It's every day.
It's the driving animus of the party. It's just like, the green M&M is no longer sexy. Therefore, we have to shove this guy into a black site in the middle of Africa that is an untrackable flight.
I'm sorry, by the way, this is an aside, but I'm showing my age here. We're talking about millennials. We're talking about the anti-ice thing. But back in my day, PSYOPs used to be at least somewhat believable. That's all I'm going to say. Anti-ice on the bullet. Fuck you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like,
that's the blacks' rule of like PSYOPs.
It's like
this country used to make Zero Dark 30.
A real fall from grace recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's I think about that often, just how I don't even believe that a lot of these people from the top, I do believe that like people that live in like Arkansas, the rural farms of Arkansas, they are mad about wokeness not being out of like McDonald's or whatever. But people like Jack Posobiec and all of these people, I just straight up don't believe that they're really that mad.
Cosmopolitans, dude. They don't give a shit about any of this stuff.
It's all performative. They're just doing a performance of anger, which just trickles it down to the base. Like, there's no way. I don't like, it's like they choose to wake up every day and be mad. When I wake up, I'm like, I sure hope I'm like having a good day today. Like, I really hope that I like have a wonderful stroll, get a coffee, like see a dog.
Up every day, decide to be fucking pissed off about like, something. It's so crazy.
I just don't believe that they actively want to live like that. It's exhausting to imagine.
It's so like it's a candle burning at both ends, though, because like, okay, this culture war shit is what it is. But now, like, farmers are no longer, we used farmers as the metaphor a second ago. Farmers are not going to be allowed to sell their soybeans. Billions and billions and billions of tens of billions of dollars in soybeans are not going to be sold this year because of China. And at the same time, China is going to be buying their soybeans from Argentina, replacing our farmers. And now we're apparently going to be bailing Argentina out. I'm sorry, but these people are not going to keep falling for this hooplehead culture war shit when that stuff starts to catch up to them. It can't last forever.
Yeah, you would hope. That's the hope, right? But it's got them this far. Like we are, you guys. I keep thinking this, but we're 10 years into Trumpism, basically.
I know.
Like he went down the escalator 10 years ago, and now we are here. And everything Joe Biden did was a direct reaction to Donald Trump, who still maintained a grip on culture, basically. And
Joe Biden was the cat chasing the laser pointer, dude.
Yeah. And I just I hope that is the case, that people start noticing their material realities worsening as it happens. Because I would also like it if that did not happen. I am one of those people who thinks that people shouldn't starve because they live in Alabama. Like, I just don't think that should happen. I think that's bad.
Bold of you to say, Ben.
Thank you very much. I'm a very yeah. I don't know. I am. I'm just not optimistic anymore that people are gonna figure it out. But I am optimistic that there is a sort of tidal wave coming for the grandiosity and the braggadociousness of these people is just so off-putting.
It is. That
I think that it will get them. And I also think I don't know if you guys have looked up recently. My least favorite thing that was happening in the first Trump term is like everyone was like, oh, Donald Trump is so stupid. Everyone's gonna make great art, great protest song.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no, actually, people are exhausted. People are just too fucking tired to do anything like this. That's why we wanted to do those documentaries, because we wanted to, I haven't seen anything that looks like this in on the internet in 6 years. People don't spend time and sit down and take a step back and just do weird shit like this.
Yeah.
So but yeah, I am optimistic that people will at least look at the stupid shit that's happening in their life, if not the fact that frosted mini wheats cost $14 now. Hopefully they will look at the fact that culture has degraded substantially, and the movies are worse, and for some reason everyone is a country artist now, and be like, I'm just not fucking, I don't know. And also WWE is having WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia.
Jesus Christ.
I think they will just look up and be like, something's fucking wrong. And, I think after 3 years of this, they will.
Yeah. This is a little bit out in left field, Ben, but yeah, I think you're the only person I could ask this question to, and I might get an interesting answer for. So on the periphery, this isn't explicitly political. It is, but it's not Trump politics political. On the periphery of all this stuff, other media and just corporations in general are just eroding labor rights, everything else. For instance, in my other show, 60-Minute Drill, I work with Ed Zitron, who you know, and Arif Hassan, who's a beat writer for the Minnesota Vikings. So we talk about sports media. And, right now they're allowed to, essentially the NFL is been given they've been given 10% access or ownership equity stake in ESPN in exchange for access. And they're doing the same thing with some of these formerly independent media sites that Arif used to work for. You can listen to the episode. I won't get too into the weeds on it. And they're killing stories, and they're also gutting the players union at the same time while they're doing all this. So he and I had this kind of struggle session where we're talking about this. What can independent creators do? Because the problem that we're seeing is Arif has a wonderful website called wideleft.football. It's fantastic. I suggest everybody go listen to it if this is anything that's remotely interesting to you. But we live in this time where everybody has to have their own Substack. And the pocket of the average person that's interested in this, you can't sustain 45 Substacks, 20 podcasts, and so on and so on and so on. What do you see as a vision for the future of independent media creators under Trumpism? Is, I guess, a long way to ask that.
That's a great question. I think right now it's going to get worse before it gets better. But I do think that people are starting to understand that things have to change at the platform level. And that means creating real competitors to the way people currently consume media. So that's the YouTubes and the TikToks of the world. And I do think that will happen. Substack exists because people were getting fired from their media jobs for being too weird. And some of them were too weird good, and most of them were too weird derogatory, and now it's gigantic, right? But that was a reaction to the blog era that was heavily corporatized by the end of it, I would say.
But at least you got Bad Iglesias from it.
Oh yeah, great. Great ideas from that guy. Yeah. I have an idea. We should just throw 4 trans people in a river and just see what happens. I think like I read this on his blog. I think
I'll
it's
volunteer.
a cool idea. Yeah. I like that's what they love to do. They love they're just like a couple of sacrifices for the undesirables, and everything should be okay. Regardless, I think like so that's the thing is like we are now in a different era of what the technology is. So like that was Substack was a reaction to that, like the blog era. The 50 Twitter clones, like the Truth Socials and all this, for example, is one of those for text-based media. And then there's video and all these other places that offer high dollar amounts for just remaining on there, right? The right tried to do this with Rumble a little bit as they were kicked off that. Alex Jones created his own personal platform, whatever. But you need to be able to build and create scale in a way that works. It kind of works for YouTube. I bet you they're going to be under siege soon for being insufficiently accepting of the president's wonderful ideas.
Well, if you saw this just yesterday, Ben, they had those congressional hearings, and Google basically said, "We're sorry for like suspending people who posted COVID misinfo or whatever," and they kind of like threw the Biden administration under the bus for giving guidance on like what was true or not, which, there are obviously that's a slippery slope when the federal government is saying that, but still like it was pretty heavy handed the way that Google, worded their statement.
Yeah. Because they're trying to curry favor to the current administration that really cares about that specific thing. And I've seen that left and right. But yeah, look, I think that there is going to be the ability to do something against this. I keep saying this, but like TikTok is about to be owned by the guy who just bought Paramount and turned CBS into Barry Weiss's little thing, or is about to do that with regulatory approval. He also owns Oracle, or his dad owns Oracle, which is one of the biggest tech providers in the entire world, does a bunch of other stuff. And he bought something else. Oh, he's about to buy Warner Brothers as well.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And it's them and Andreessen Horowitz, who we just previously talked about, and the Chinese government will maintain an ownership stake in this, and the United States government will be able to oversee this and dick around with the algorithm. That's part of the deal. And I think when regular people, especially young TikTok users, will be presented with that as an option, I can't imagine they're going to be on there all the time, because previously we used to get a pretty good view of what was happening with the culture. And it's going to be like, oh man, suddenly we all love Mr. President Trump and his cool flags and his great head. And like, that's what we're going to have to deal with.
I totally agree that there needs to be like some sort of parallel infrastructure built that's not just pure evil, because they tried to build that on the right, and in some cases they did build out different things. Like Truth Social is maybe one of the more successful ones, like in terms of video. Like there was Kick and I guess Rumble, like these different platforms as well, like those are successful.
Don't forget but the reason friends at BitChute.
Bitch, of course. Yeah. and like, I feel like a lot of these happened. There was a lot of these experiments because the right just is littered with, as you mentioned earlier, people that just like throw money around endlessly. They don't care if they lose $10 billion, because that's just a marginal difference at the end of the day for them. But like, there's not really like that sort of like leniency. I feel like, especially the left, but even it feels like even liberal like the like, and I mean it like liberal Democratic Party, like aligned billionaires don't really seem to have an interest. Yeah, the Mark Cubans, they don't really seem to have an interest in any of this sort of thing. At least it doesn't seem like that right now, and because that's like a big problem. That will be a big problem, that there's not like people that can do that other than like insane right wingers.
It'll open you up to regulatory nightmares, right? Like the second you open a website and then a bunch of speech this administration doesn't like anymore, they'll come after you and they'll come after your other businesses. That's the biggest problem here. That's the real problem with the Kimmel thing, right? So they just want like these like Sinclair and Tegna want to get their mergers through, and they are the carriers for this thing. So it scares mega billionaires on the left, certainly, or even in the center, from even entering the media sphere at all. Whereas on the right, the incentive structure is completely flipped, right? Mm-hmm. There's two different playing fields. The incentive structure on the right is to get you addicted to like snuff content. And that snuff content targets minorities or targets trans people or targets whatever group of people they decided to go after that day. Until the Kirk shooting, it was that horrific stabbing video of that woman on that train. But the wagons circled around that as a way to say cities weren't safe, all these other things. They take anecdata, they take one little thing. It's government by viral video, basically, and they exploit it. And that's the incentive structure on the right, is to do that as much as possible. Get people locked to their phone, like scrolling obsessively about this stuff, to curry favor effectively with the president. And then you can go and get your cobalt mining deal signed in the background.
It's something I've been thinking a lot about recently, and I feel like if I like thought this 2 years ago, I would have been like, nah, this surely is just not a real phenomena. But I feel like it's gotten to a point with all of these people, like the administration that we're living in, there is like a significant amount of people that have truly been radicalized by people leaving them like mean replies on their tweets. Like I feel like that's like an actual real phenomena, and I don't like, it's stupid. I think that's so stupid. If your politics make you like a right-wing radical because you get like mean replies, if like getting dunked on changes your politics, I think that's like weak. I think that's so insane that that's something that can happen, but it's like a real phenomena. And I feel like this entire administration is just that type of guy. It's an administration
where they zoomed in on his face too much and took a screenshot of it and posted it in the reply. So now he's like fucking Sieg-heiling.
Yeah, literally. That's so many people, though. I mean, that's Elon Musk to an extent. Sucks. Yeah, and it's like, I don't know. Social media makes people fucking insane, and I say that as someone who, I'm on social media a fair bit.
I do. The dynamics of that are so interesting to me, because I wonder. I think a lot of the reason a lot of reporters are still on Twitter is that they are comfortable being yelled at by the right, because they've been yelled at by the right their whole lives, and they don't take them seriously. And if you're yelled at by the left, you're probably getting yelled at. You're not getting yelled at by a guy on an ATV who's just like also on Twitter. You're getting yelled at by an academic usually. Yeah. And I understand how that could hurt your feelings further, because ostensibly that person could be smarter than you and telling you you're doing something wrong. And like, that could hurt your feelings more. And I think that's why, like, when people complain about like blue skyism or whatever, that's what they mean, is like, you're getting yelled at by like a pack of people with degrees, which hurts more. Yeah. Like, it hurts your feelings big time. And I've had this happen to me a bunch. Like I've fucked up, how I frame stories. I fucked up when I was a journalist. I've had dumbass tweets. I've done all that stuff. And
who hasn't? Yeah.
That's the whole point. But like, and I felt bad, and I've been like, oh, he's fucking this professor at the University of Georgia, or how dare you? But I also just fucking got over it. Like, that's part of it. And the asymmetry here is not that it's not that the right has better points and you're more willing to debate them or listen to them, whatever. It's just that you're more willing to actually just ignore them. I think that's really what's going on with Twitter in general, and people's unwillingness to lead there. However, at this point, I think it's such like a casino of stuff that I would hope most people have had enough. And June and I have seen this. June runs social media at The Onion. Twitter does not do, like, we have one of the largest Twitter accounts in the world, and it is literally immaterial to our business. It doesn't do anything at all. There's nobody there anymore, except for like 8 reporters, news organizations who press the button on their automated Sprout thing, and bots and racists. That's it. That's all that's left.
Yeah, Twitter really just is sort of like the social media designed to make you insane. There's not much more to it than that. And it works. It does make a lot of people insane. It really sadly does. And I didn't believe that was the case for a while, but I mean, I feel like we've seen too many people. Like, RFK Jr. is not one of these guys, but he had that same sort of radicalization in a different route, but that same sort of path laid out to him, where he was like, oh, I'm like a liberal. I'm like a center liberal guy. And then all of a sudden, oh, Donald Trump's saying I can give measles to kids. All right, time to get on board.
Yeah, that's right. By the way, just to give your point a little bit more salience as well, Caleb, there was an article in Semaphore this week about how a guy in the Trump administration got radicalized by being banned from the Gawker comment section.
Come on. Come on.
That is. And imagine holding on to that resentment all this time. Like now it's like a movie. Like you wound up in like Mussolini Jr.'s thing because your joke about, I don't know, Gangnam Style.
See, like it sounds ridiculous, but it's something I don't know. I need to like look. I don't know. I need to think about it more because I think that's a real phenomena. That's like actually maybe not like to a degree that like I don't think if we didn't have Twitter, Trump, well, maybe who's to say? I don't think it's like the main factor in why the world is why it is right now. But I do think it's like a factor that has played a role somehow. And it would be interesting to dig deeper on that specific, like weird, like negatively polarizing people into like the opposite positions because of how social media functions.
Yeah, I mean, like we are. I hate to recommend a television show host book, but Chris Hayes' book about the attention economy is really good. I think at The Onion, we think about this too, like creating like a big moment that like takes over the whole thing, that takes over the internet in a big way. And that's really what Donald Trump is best at, in part because he doesn't care how he's getting that attention. Like when he was on the roof a couple weeks ago, like a lost dog.
Yeah.
Like when that was happening, everyone was like, look at this fucking idiot. His dementia. I was like, this is the smartest thing he's done in like 6 months. It was like, I was like, random president on roof. Fucking, you nailed it, buddy.
I mean, that's a day's news story. Yeah,
exactly.
He's just up there smiling like a fucking goober and everyone loses their mind.
Yeah, exactly. And he's right back in the news doing that thing. So yeah, I think like that's the other thing is, I've always thought about this in terms of academia and vaccine researchers just have this problem. Like anti-vaxxers are so good at attention and telling and like, taking one story and that usually is not true. Like I would take my baby to the doctor and my baby was speaking full English and he was 2 months old and he was at home doing math all day. And I took him to the doctor and then he came home and then he got a shot and then he couldn't talk anymore. And like, look, it's horrifying when that happens to any baby and that, like that your baby's not developing correctly and all that stuff. And people latch onto what they do. But the real poisonous motherfuckers take those stories and they explode them without evidence and they go crazy with it because they have cooler stories.
Everybody listen to this just as an aside. Should do yourself a favor and go. Do you remember during COVID, there was like 3 or 4 prominent cases of like white women who took the vaccine and couldn't stop shaking? Well, guess
that was
fucking
my favorite.
What? I'm actually Facebook friends with one of them, interestingly enough.
No way.
Yeah, all of them, I can't remember their names because we were going to do an episode on this a long time ago, but it kind of got lost in the end of the sauce or whatever. All of them have cured themselves with various essential oils and supplements and stuff like that they happen to be selling. They fixed it. So.
Yep. One of my best friends, Brandy Zadrozny, who works at NBC News. She did a story about the very first one of these. There was a woman that was on like, what are those sloppy like 90s, like Inside Edition? Is that what it's called? And there was a woman who was like, I got a vaccine and then she was a beauty queen.
Is that the one who she could only walk backwards?
She could only walk backwards.
Yeah, dude, what a queen! They made the walking out remixes of her and stuff.
I recommend this so much, June, and you can laugh because June, she couldn't walk forward. She could only walk backwards. So she was just moonwalking all through town and everything.
Come on.
Anyways, they went to check in on her like 6 months later and she was obviously just like walking a TJ Maxx fine forwards, by the way.
Yeah, forwards.
Or reverse moonwalk in TJ Maxx. And they're like, what happened? She was like, oh, it's a miracle. But she did this story about her like, last year, 2 years ago, about how, she got, suckered into this ecosystem of like,
she was
this
approached
attention
and basically
really
like
helps.
made to feel special by doing this. Yeah.
Yes. And that's just a game that the left doesn't play in. And it's a game the center doesn't play in, certainly. And I don't know if they want to. But these big, almost like fables, they create an iconography. They're creating like almost like a second Bible for themselves, right? And it's so hard to compete with that when people are. They're better stories. They just kind of are. Like this week, did you see the thing? It was in Chicago, or it's just outside of Chicago. There was a woman who
Starbucks,
said,
right?
Yeah, there was a woman who said she got a cup. She said she ordered Charlie Kirk's favorite drink from Starbucks.
Which, let me stop you there.
How would you know?
The fact that anyone cares about his favorite drink from Starbucks, like, I don't know. No one 2 weeks ago knew that, but go on.
Right.
Go on.
And then she went online and she said, I got the drink and they wrote loser on my cup.
Well, sucks to suck. Why is that on the news? Fuck you.
Well, Starbucks went and looked. They did not fucking write loser on her cup. They didn't do that. That's not what happened. She wrote loser on her cup, or somebody else wrote loser on her cup. And again, the very baseline premise here is a person got an order on the Starbucks mobile app who was working at Starbucks and was like, yes, of course, a mint mocha latte, the Charlie Kirk drink. Let me write down loser on this person's cup. There will be no repercussions for this. And also, I know what the drink this is. Like, what? That's for every, every single one of these like incredibly viral president on a roof moments, there's 50 of these like little things that don't take off fully or just abject lies like that one. But they keep trying because their goals are myth making and their goals are world building. And there is no equivalent whatsoever on the other side. Like it's just no it doesn't work like that. There's no storytelling except for Jeffrey Epstein, bad pedophile, available theaters.
And I like that's super good point about how it's like, I mean, the right only does that. It's because it's part of the grift. It's part of like the hysteria that underlies like pretty much anything that they do. It's to keep like the fire underneath their feet to make them mad all the time. Because that Starbucks that you mentioned, it got so much heat that they had to close down that Starbucks because they were getting harassed by people so much. Like the Starbucks itself, that location was like, we're not opening for a couple of days. We'll be back soon because this is insane. And the fact that sort of myth making is, it starts with insane people, just random people. I think just some random person posted that, but all of a sudden it gets sent to like Stephen Miller and it becomes like a whole story. It becomes like a state sanctioned government like narrative that plays out, and all of a sudden 5 million people believe it and think it's true and want like someone's head on the end of the Starbucks flagpole.
And that story and ones like them, we were talking about Twitter earlier. I didn't want to interrupt you guys, but I'm not on there. Haven't been on there for a while, but I do check it sometimes. Just if a friend sends me something funny or whatever, I'll scroll for a second. That's the entire fucking feed is just stories that you look at them for a second. There's like zero basis in reality. It used to be that like conservatives did this thing where they'll take like a shred of truth, right?
Yeah.
And they'll run with it. But now it's all just complete bullshit. There's like 10 of those exact same types of stories in my feed right now.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I'm just going to open it up and see what happens. But like, I bet you it's the very first thing. We'll see. I'm literally, here we go. We're opening.
What do you see?
I see Megyn Kelly's face. Oh, it's about the Etsy witches. So
yeah, that's another like fun little side piece. Yeah. Is that I always get reminded that all of these people genuinely believe in like the devil doing things like, oh, like the devil did this, witches did this. It's like, oh yeah, these people actually believe that's real. They actually think that this is something that happened because the Etsy witches, they actually unironically believe that. And how do you counter people who just function like that?
I just got to say really quick, 110% pro Etsy witch, because that is why the Seattle Mariners in a couple hours are about to clinch our first AL West title since 9/11.
They also,
because
they
of
also
Etsy
called the
witches.
Etsy witches? They did?
Yeah. We went on that. We've lost like one game in the last 2 weeks since they did the Etsy witch thing, and it's very funny.
Okay, maybe it's real.
Yeah, they're like conservatives in the area are like, you shouldn't play with that. You shouldn't play with that. It's like, fuck it, dude. We're about to get the pennant, baby.
We have a guy with a 125-pound ass hitting 60 home runs.
That's
It's
right.
working, baby.
Yeah. I did find one of the first things I saw was the Tylenol thing. You know, they're pulling up a post from 2017 where Tylenol says not to take Tylenol at all when you're pregnant. And they're trying to say it's because they knew it caused autism and they were trying to warn somebody back in 2017. Well, no, you don't take it when you're pregnant because that could destroy the liver of your unborn child. That's why you don't take it when you're pregnant.
I also really like, and this means a lot to me as someone who is the social media manager for another company, is that if I say the right thing, people will take anything that I say way more seriously than like actual doctors or like people that actually know what they're talking about. I like that's an inspiring story that all of a sudden that like social media managers are smarter than doctors and should be taken more seriously than doctors who know the science. That's like that's good news for me. That's awesome.
I love you very much. But I just think the social media managers only exist to apologize when you make up stories. I used to go online and love saying like tagging Irish Spring and be like, my Uncle Grundy died because he ate a bar of your delicious soap. And they would have to respond and be like, I'm so sorry, sir. Please DM us more information or whatever. You know what I mean? That's the only good thing social media managers do.
Look, but wait, like, this is like a decade ago now. You can't even my accounts have been suspended, but I used to go on Yelp and just review random businesses that I've never been in different states and just make up like fantastical stories about how I was like robbed in their store. And I was just like hoping that the people that ran these stores saw those reviews and like had to take it seriously. I would do that back in the day with like back in high school. This was like 15 years ago now.
I mean, I've been beefing with Windex for so long. They called me and begged me to stop drinking it. They called me on the phone. They said they had an actual physician call me and tell me to stop drinking Windex.
Wait, are you serious?
This is 100%. You didn't know this?
No.
I've been beefing with Windex for like a million years because I would just be like, it's a delicious drink. And they would always respond like, please don't drink Windex. And I would say no. And then, so one time this is a 100% true story. I still have the pitch deck and everything. So they reached out to me at one point and they were like, we want to talk to you. And so I think that I'm going to get to talk to the Windex social media team. So I create a 100% pitch deck of a new drinkable line of Windex called Windex because you smile after every sip. And I'm thinking I'm going to get to pitch this to Windex. And then they have a fucking doctor call me like, please stop. You will die if you don't stop drinking Windex instead. And then I was like, no, I'm still going to drink it. And then they got me suspended from Twitter.
What the fuck? Are you kidding me? That's an incredible.
That's real government censorship. They had you Windex called the Obama administration or like, you got to get off this thing.
Yeah, I walked so Jimmy Kimmel could fly.
Free speech, baby. All right, I think we're coming down to the end of this episode. Ben, before we go, thank you for coming on and talking about all this. But do you have any like final? Do you have anything to plug? Do you have anything you want to like say before we wrap up?
Yeah, watch Jeffrey Epstein, Pedophile. It is. I think it's probably the funniest thing we've made on video, or maybe at all in a very long time. Watch to the end. Is a miracle, and if you can watch with people, I hope you do. The joy of it is that the room laughed over several jokes in the 2 times that I've seen it with people in the room. So it rewards rewatching. It'll be in select theaters on October 2nd. If it isn't in your town and you want to host a screening, let us know. It'll be available somewhere else shortly after that, but we want people to see it in person because it's good to go meet people out loud and shake everyone's hand and give everyone smooches and give everyone back rubs, do all that stuff. Actually, don't take that advice.
Just watch it. Don't do any of the other stuff. Just go and watch it.
Anyway, at the thing. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, but it is very funny. Yeah, it's very funny.
Yeah, subscribe to The Onion. It helps us pay for all this stuff and you get a really good newspaper in the mail. And I think do you still get a tote bag? Actually, I don't know. I don't think you get a tote bag this week, but regardless, subscribe to The Onion. It's really good for you. It's a good thing. And yeah, just onward and upward. And then maybe we'll also buy an Infowars soon, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, no, support independent media. It's very important. I feel like everyone, especially this week, can kind of that's the reality we live in. So, Caleb, do you have any final plugs?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I already plugged because we talked about this, but we do talk about a lot of this stuff over on my other, I think when I tell people I have an NFL podcast, and plus, trust me, there is plenty of oinking and yelling about, the ball being thrown the wrong way or whatever. But we do, like, the idea is that we do half of that and then half of stuff like player unions and media and stuff like that. So if this type of conversation is interesting to you, we did just release our first paywalled episode. So check that out.
Hell yeah. Great. Awesome. All right. See you guys next time.
The computer.